Imagining the Future for Secondary Education, 21st Century Schools and the Internet of Things. In 2008, the National Declaration on the Educational Goals for Young Australians identified two key goals for schooling in Australia. One, that Australian schooling should promote equity and excellence, and two, that all young Australians become successful learners, confident and creative individuals, and active and informed citizens. The key measures of these goals, as articulated in the 2012 Measurement Framework for Schooling in Australia, include participation, achievement, and attainment. Participation through enrolment, attendance, national assessment programs, VET, and other learning pathways. Achievement in areas that include literacy, numeracy, civics and citizenship, ICT literacy and science literacy. And attainment in either school completion or other learning pathways. This presentation explores how new and emerging theories of learning create future possibilities in the field of K-12 education, and in particular, secondary education. In the late 19th and 20th centuries, theories of learning began to emerge and develop. These theories should not be considered as distinct and isolated innovations, but should in contrast be seen as contributing to the development of other theories as time and technological developments occurred. Learning theory emerging in the 21st century continues to build upon previous approaches, but presents a new perspective. Online collaborative learning theory, considered an idea whose time has come, has emerged as a direct result of the invention of the internet and networked computers, and the socio-economic shift from the industrial society to the knowledge era. Many researchers have identified that innovation is a process shaped by the interplay of biological, social, political, psychological, and environmental factors, and that the potential economic gain to be made from innovation is only one of the many factors within the complex interplay. What features most prominently in the processes shaping innovation in the field of education is moral purpose, the steadfast commitment to raise the bar and close the gap for all students. Alone, however, moral purpose is merely rhetoric. To bring about deep and long-lasting change in education, we must first implement effective strategies for leading innovation. Innovation, in contrast to invention, is the generation, acceptance and implementation of new ideas, processes, products or services, and is both psychologically and historically original in nature. In 2007, Thomas Frey, Executive Director and Senior Futurist at the Da Vinci Institute, made reference to the radical shift that would begin to occur in the world of education. Frey identified 8 key trends driving change in the world of education. These included the transition from teaching to learning, the exponential growth of information, the open education movement, the expanding gulf between the functionally literate and the superliterate, the change in touch points for interfacing with society, the changing drivers in learning from meeting basic needs to achieving self-actualization, the age of hyper-individuality, and the transition from consumer to producer. It should be noted that the goal of the futurist is not to predict what will happen in the future, but rather to describe what could happen or what should happen in order to meet the goals set forth by the moral imperative of a society. Futurists take a very wide view of the world and consider broad perspectives and long timeframes when conducting a study into possible futures. These studies, carried out by futurists, include processes such as understanding the current state of affairs, looking for indications of the future, explaining or reporting on possible futures, describing the range of possibilities, and creating and implementing a future direction. One such process is that of the futures triangle, a process for analysing the interaction of the future possibilities that pull us forward alongside the push of the present and the weight of the past. What follows is a futures triangle for the 21st century digital school. The pull of the future, illustrated by the 2013 infographic produced by Gian Burnish, A Glimpse into the Future of Learning, highlights the big picture of changes believed could produce a diverse learning ecosystem in which learning adapts to each child instead of each child trying to adapt to the school. The push of the present is characterised by the neoliberalist, globally competitive nature of the interconnected world. The promotion of individual self-interest, such as the highly entrenched school choice and competitiveness characteristic of the Australian school system, includes the My School website, high-stakes testing, performance pay for teachers, and competition for a place in the OECD's PISA Top 5. And the weight of the past is clearly evident in the conservative pressure to maintain industrial-era classrooms and teaching practices that no longer meet the requirements of developing students for future work, but merely provide comfort in that which is familiar. The global perspective provided by the Futures Triangle lends itself to the next process, known as causal layer analysis, that seeks to investigate 4 levels of understanding. These are the litany, systems, worldviews, and myths or metaphors impacting innovation. Layers 1 and 2 of the causal layer analysis, the litany and systems, are what is most visible and easiest to identify and relate to. Layers 3 and 4, the worldviews and myths or metaphors, are often more difficult to identify, but provide a deeper and broader perspective on that which is often felt but not clearly articulated. What follows are the causal layer analysis for 3 distinct stakeholders in secondary schooling: students, parents and families, and teachers and school staff. Students. The left side of the causal layer analysis describes how students view school as boring and oppressive, and is illustrated by the metaphor of a prison. The right side transforms the school into a journey with guides walking alongside them, setting challenges that are personally meaningful, embracing what students already know how to do, and building upon that. Parents and families. Often disconnected from their child's secondary schooling experience due to a wide range of factors, the left-hand side details the expectation parents have that it is the school's responsibility to keep them informed, providing a submissive customer service approach that merely responds to individual parent demands. In contrast, the right-hand side depicts the teacher as an oracle, wise and thoughtful. There is trust and confidence in their professional ability that has been developed through the communication and transparency made possible when schools leverage technology to keep parents informed about their child and the wider school community. Teachers and school staff. Weighed down by the unprecedented level and rate of change of technology in education, the left-hand side details how teachers and school staff feel as though they are running in a marathon where the finish line is getting further and further away from them. On the right-hand side, the focus moves away from seeing technological advances as challenges, but rather describes these advances as opportunities to keep abreast of change, providing teachers and school staff with the wings they need to be able to fly into the future of education. Engaging in the causal layer analysis for these 3 distinct groups of stakeholders provides insight into what currently is and what could be. Future studies, the aim of which is to get a better understanding of future opportunities, moves beyond merely predicting the future. Instead, it describes alternative possibilities. The principle that a behaviour is explained by intentions based on the desires and beliefs of those involved is known as teleology. Behaviour of this kind is purposeful and is illustrated by what we call actions. The behaviour makes sense in retrospect but cannot generally be predicted. When we embrace teleology as a specific form of understanding in addition to causality, it is then that the process of backcasting becomes applicable for imagining preferred futures. Backcasting outlines alternative possibilities for the future, which would then form the basis for planning and identifying the key purposeful actions required to bring this possible future into existence. Backcasting is a navigation tool and therefore may result in more than one path. The steps to follow when backcasting include baselining the current state, defining the possible future states, and then working backwards, identify the actions and key performance indicators whilst assessing the risks and opportunities that may arise. The following link takes you to an interactive web presentation of backcasting describing 3 possible futures for secondary education in the 21st century and explores the most plausible of these in depth. To locate this visual interactive presentation, simply follow the link in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. The processes detailed in this presentation are not in conflict with other organisational strategies, but rather are complementary, providing possibilities for planning and goal setting and providing a vision for moving the organisation into the future.